Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be too much texting lowers attraction. Well, we're going to talk about a subject that a lot of guys get themselves into a shitload of trouble when they start texting and chit-chatting and talking with a woman on the phone, or texting, or Snapchatting, or WhatsApping, or Facebook messaging, or FaceTiming, or WhatsApp. Doesn't matter. Sending email. It's like when you contact a woman too much, even if she's really into you at first, the more you do it, the quicker you're going to see her attraction level start to drop. And what happens in these situations is the girl's really into the guy at first, and so feminine energy is all about bonding, connecting, opening up to receive love. And when she has a high level of attraction to start off with, meaning on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 8 out of 10, which is obviously where this particular woman started out with this particular guy. It's kind of like love at first sight. It's kind of how all women fantasize about meeting somebody and having an amazing connection at first, and it just evolves from there. Well, the guy gets used to texting constantly and thinking, hey, we're in a relationship, this is great. And then he keeps doing it, and then the woman starts to slowly back off because she starts to get bored after a few days or a few weeks of this. And then she starts to back off. The guy thinks, I got to do something. I got to text her more. I got to try to make her laugh more. I got to try to reach out more to engage her in those things. And it ends up blowing up in their face. They get the exact opposite effect, to the point where she just starts like, this woman was texting you all the time, and now she's ignoring the text that you're sending her. And this is a big no-no. The phone is for setting dates, and this is what I talk about in my book. Women, it's a scientific fact that women are more attracted to men whose feelings are unclear. And when you chit-chat with a woman like this so quickly, so soon after you meet her, all the mystery evaporates, especially if you're telling her everything that goes on throughout your week. Why is she going to want to go out with you? You already told her everything that you think about. You go out on a date, and you've been talking constantly 24/7 since your last date. She knows everything that's going on in your life. There's no mystery there. There's no space for her to develop any feelings or attraction for you. And these are the kinds of situations where a woman thinks, I initially thought we were really into each other, we were perfect, but we just don't have any chemistry. I don't feel anything there. And it's like intellectually they think I should really be into this guy, but they're not. And then they end up backing off. And they can't really, most women can't explain why it just fizzled out, so to speak. So I have a quote that I wrote in this topic, and then we're going to go through his email and see what he did and what changes he's made to since turn things around. And the quote says, women are more attracted to men who are mysterious, fascinating, interesting, and somewhat of a challenge to figure out. Since feminine energy is all about bonding, connecting, and opening up to receive love, women typically will start to reach out and pursue more and more as their attraction, curiosity, and interest grows in a man. Most men who don't know any better get themselves into trouble when they start texting and chatting on the phone constantly with women who they have a lot of chemistry with and just started dating. They reveal too much and talk too much, and when the women predictably start to become a little bored and too familiar with them, they start backing off. Most men erroneously assume that they need to text or do more, which actually leads to their texts and messages being ignored. The phone is for setting dates only, not getting to know someone. Men who violate this principle will inevitably talk and text women right out of liking and being attracted to them. So he says, hey Corey, dude, you're a freaking genius. You saved me from making a real ass out of myself. Thanks so much for putting this info out there. Well, you're welcome. I appreciate the compliments. Thanks for applying this stuff and learning it, and becoming one of the few but ever-increasing numbers of guys who get it. My goal is I want men and women all over the world to understand the things that I teach. I want everybody to know this stuff. Because the world will be a lot happier place. There'll be a lot more people doing things that they love for a living, and if people are doing things that they love for a living, they're going to work harder at it. They're going to add more value. They're going to create better services, better products. The world will be a better place, a more efficient place, a more happier place. Literally, we're all co-creating the world that we grow up in and that our kids grow up in. He says, I'd been married for 20 years and my wife passed away a couple of years ago. I got online and I met a few girls, but they all seemed to be way too eager and I wasn't that interested. However, a month ago, I met this one girl and we met up and gone out a couple of times. She suggested a movie once, and another time we went to dinner. I've been in sales for many years, and one thing I've learned is to ask leading questions and just listen. Ask enough of the right questions, and the prospect will close the deal for you, right? Yep, just like I talk about in my book. It's one of the things that Adam Carolla says, so true. When a woman likes you, the doors start opening, and all you literally have to do is walk through them. Makes it pretty fucking easy. And by doing the things that I teach in my book and in my videos, you will prevent talking women out of liking you, which is what started to happen with this particular guy. He says, well, she did. After dinner, we went to her place, and she was all over me. We spent the weekend together, and then the next. It was hot. During the same time, in the weeks following, she blew up my phone with, good morning, babe, I miss you, and all that, right? So far, so good. Sometimes I'd wait a few hours to text back, and sometimes I'd text back right away. This is mainly because she asked me once if, when I saw her text, was I making her wait. He says, hell yes, I was. Maybe you were busy. If you're driving and you see a text, and obviously the other person's going to know it's delivered, especially if it's WhatsApp and it puts the 2 checks after it, meaning they know you've seen it. If you're driving, obviously you're not going to be able to text right away. Or if you're at a party or you're in a meeting and you see that, you can quickly look and see what it is. I mean, those are the kinds of things where you're not going to be able to text back right away. So think about that, especially if you're using something like WhatsApp. You know, what's nice about the iPhone is that it'll put the message of what was there kind of in the beginning, as long as you don't go into WhatsApp and see it, so you can kind of see what they're sending you, but since you don't actually go to the app and open up, they don't get that second check mark. So you can kind of see what they're talking about, but hey, if you're busy or you're in a meeting, you don't have time to look at it, especially if you're driving, because you never should text and drive. Or maybe you're sleeping, maybe you're too tired, or maybe you've had a little bit to drink, or maybe you're in the middle of a conversation with somebody and you figure you'll get to them later, but you're having such a good time you forget about it. Not that you want to tell a woman that you forgot about her, because she's not going to like that, but the point is be fucking busy, have a life, especially if you're getting to know somebody and you've got lots of options in your life. You're not going to just drop everything for one person that you went out on one date with. He says, I knew well enough not to be too eager, but as time passed, remember, it's like the frog in the pot of hot boiling water. It's like as the heat gets turned off, you just kind of lay there and you literally boil to death. He says, my text messages started getting longer and longer, and with that, there arose confusion, misunderstanding, and things started going sideways. Because what you notice is your texts become longer and longer, and hers start to become shorter and shorter, and the frequency of them starts to drop off. And so guys, because we're all driven, masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, we think we got to do something, which is what I like to call the illusion of action. I never thought much of texting as a way of communicating, but she seemed to want me to, and I sort of figured this was the new thing these days to do. Because this particular guy, he was with the same woman for 20 years until she passed away. And so I see a lot of this, guys, you know, especially get a smartphone for the first time and all these new apps and cool things, ways to contact people, and they're thinking, oh, well, this is just another way. Well, that's a landmine. You start texting and calling too much again. If you just keep it from the principle and the philosophy, the phone is for setting dates, and you always come from that place, you'll never get in the habit of over-texting or doing all that bullshit. He says, it drove me nuts. Some of the texts would just go off so off track. I hated it. It threw me off my game. Because what's happening is you're not texting because you want to, you're doing it because you think you have to. And that's the key difference. He says, then last Monday I texted her once and I didn't hear back the rest of the week. I was devastated. That's when I stumbled across you on the internet and I read your book and listened to at least half your videos so far. Well, it's a lot of people, they go to my YouTube channel and they watch the Essential Fundamental videos, which I think there's probably, I don't know, 70 or 80 of them are at this particular point. I've got over 16, almost 1,700 videos. So there's no way that you've watched half of them, because in order to watch half my videos, you literally would have to watch videos of mine for, I think it's like a month and a half without any sleep at all. There's a lot of content there and a lot of situations that I've discussed over the years with men and women. He says, I'm glad I did because I was going to write a letter and leave it on her porch. some sappy dipstick letter telling her how hurt I was and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, you see that in movies all the time. You're going to leave one final form of contact, and hopefully that will change things for you. He says, man, I caught your stuff just in time to keep me from making myself look like a needy fool. But you notice this girl went from blowing up your phone to now she's blowing you off. That means her attraction level has plummeted. So he says, thank you. I did send one short text during the week asking her if I could buy her a drink after work, but I never got a reply. So now you sent 2 texts and she's ignored both of those. So you're thinking, I gotta corner her and I have the talk. In other words, he's thinking, where do I stand with you? I gotta figure out where I stand. Well, look at her actions. What do her actions tell you? She's become bored with you, and if she's become bored with you, well, you know what? How would you treat her if you were bored with her? Well, you're not into her ignoring you, so fuck it. You're going to go text another woman. And if she never reaches out, fuck it. It's her loss. He says, I've got myself back on center and I'm starting to do my thing again. And today I got a text from her basically wanting to know why she hadn't heard from me all week. She's ignored 2 of your texts. Why haven't I heard from you all week? He says, yeah, right. Sounds like the kitty is purring at the door again. Haha. That's exactly why when this starts to happen, you back off and you wait to hear from her. And when she does reach out, assume she wants to see you and you make a date. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. You go right back to what you were doing. And that's why when a woman starts texting you like this, she needs to do 100% of it. And if you follow what I teach in my book, eventually after 2 to 3 weeks of dating, she will initiate all of it. And if you let her do that, if you let her do all of the initiating once she feels safe and comfortable enough to do that, then she'll do 100% of it. And if she's doing 100% of it, you're never going to get dumped when she's doing all the pursuing. Makes it pretty fucking easy. And then the frequency of her calling, texting, pursuing grows, and you make dates each time she reaches out, and then it gets to the point where you're seeing each other every day. And then she'll want to be in a relationship, she'll want you to be her boyfriend, and you'll be together all the time. Again, it's more of her opening the door and you walking through it. But if you start banging on the door and trying to kick it down, she's going to fucking lock and deadbolt that thing, and you ain't ever going to get in there again. He says, my success in the beginning was because I already knew a lot from sales experience, what you're trying to teach others, but as it evolved, the incessant texting got out of control. Again, it's like the heat and the boiling pot of water was turned up slowly and you boil to death. Whereas you throw the frog in the already boiling pot of water, the frog's going to jump out. But instead it happens slowly over time, and your goose was cooked. He says, I knew it was, but I didn't know what to do, and then of course, like anyone would guess, it blew up on me. This is now where your info came in, steered me clear of laying more minefields, and now instead of endless chats, my objective with my next text will be, hey babe, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. How about it? The only thing I'm not sure of is, do I tell her that I did text her and because she didn't reply, I figured she wanted some space and I was leaving her alone. And so she says, hey, I haven't heard from you all week. I was like, I sent you 2 texts. I didn't hear from either one. I just assumed you were busy. But hey, I really want to see you. The key is you don't let it show that it got under your skin, which obviously it did in your case. But it's different because most guys just keep texting and they're persistent. And intellectually, she's been told, society's pounding in her head, hey, the guy's supposed to chase, the guy's supposed to chase. She sees it in movies, she sees it in TV all the time. And what's different is you stopped barraging her. Most guys continue to barrage, and she thinks that's what she's want. That's what society has told her that she should want, but yet it still fucking turned her off. And so now, because she's got this programming in her mind, the society said, well, why is he not texting me? Something must be wrong. But instead you're like, oh, hey, I did send you a couple texts, but I didn't hear back. I just assumed you're busy. But it's really great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. You make the next date. You never let it get under your skin. But the reality is you texted her too much, you called her too much, and you chit-chatted too much, and so she became bored. And more than likely, it's obvious that she didn't even understand why she got bored. But she's reacting from a place of doing what society has told her, which is the guy should pursue and pursue and pursue. That's what she should want. That's what she sees in all her movies. But the bottom line is you were doing that, and she still blew you off. And this is why it's so not a good idea to ask women for their advice in these particular things, because they don't understand it themselves. They only know what they've been told. And she's obviously reacting in a way that is just like society programmed her to react. And that's just like what she sees in movies all the time. Even though emotionally she's responding to something else, she doesn't really understand that. It's amazing. That's why you got to know this stuff. He says, or maybe just not even bother to bring it up. I wouldn't bring it up at all, dude. Remember, James Bond, he's not going to let this shit get under his skin. I'm always leery of revealing too much of my thinking or why I did this or that, but now if we start hooking up again, I really don't want to return to the constant texting routine again either. Good, then don't. And if she says, how come you don't text so much, just say, I'm just real busy. I'm not much of a texter anyways. You know, I'd really rather just have dinner and look at those pretty beautiful eyes of yours while we're having a good evening together. She keeps trying to engage me that way. One thing I know for sure now, though, is no more than 7 words in a text and nothing serious, just teasing and, hey, babe, let's hang out, have fun, and hook up. He says, yeah, you're the man. Good shit, dude. Keep it up. Oh, yeah, and that last text, she was clearly upset she hadn't heard from me all week, according to her. But I already told you I did text her once this week, just didn't anymore because I thought she blew me off. She did blow you off. But like I said, she's reacting to societal conditioning. She's doing what society has told her she thinks she should be interacting with a guy, which obviously is the complete opposite of what she's emotionally responding to. So do I wait or text right back? Do I tell her I didn't text her back anymore because I thought she blew me off? Well, you're not going to say, oh, I thought you blew me off, because a man who values himself would never get blown off by a woman and would never think that a woman blew him off. He's just going to assume that she was busy and that she'd get back to him when her schedule freed up. So never say that she blew you off. He says, I guess like you said, most guys would have kept chasing, and she just isn't used to a 3% man. Yeah, exactly. So good job by pulling back in the reins and waiting to hear from her, because now she's starting to reach back out to you. But like I said, she reached out. Definitely make the next date and let her do 100% of the calling, text, pursuing, and make dates when you do. And you'll be fine. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session with yours truly. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.